Let me just close this. Alright, Mad Dog 2001 is here, I guess, whatever. Anyways, I've been thinking about over the last couple of weeks and even months of the baseball season that there seems to be obviously an offensive problem here in St. Louis. Basically, they can't get any production at second base, and they're not getting a lot of production from Alan Craig, and Peter Borges has been bad too, offensively I'm talking. They're not scoring runs. They got shut out today 5-0 against the Giants. Basically, they've been shut out 2 consecutive games and like something like 20-something consecutive innings. So just looking at it, one thing I don't really understand is they bring up Oscar Tavares, but that's not going to really help much because the 2 guys that don't really need to be bumped out of the lineup, Matt Holliday and Alan Craig, those aren't the 2 guys you want to be taking out of the lineup because those are the positions that Alan Craig or that Tavares would fill. And you're not going to play him in center field because John Jay's been probably the most consistent hitter in the lineup this year. So it comes down to you want to get Tavares in the lineup. And you don't want to take Craig or Holliday out. Like today, Holliday didn't play. Holliday's been, for the most part, good. He's been getting on base. He's been scoring runs. He's just not hitting for a lot of power, which is something. Matt Holliday's never been known for a huge power kind of guy, but he usually is like a 20 to 25 home run guy. It doesn't look like he's going to do that this year. He'll be more close to probably the 15 to 20 range if St. Louis is lucky with that. So thinking about it, Alan Craig's had he's a lot more versatile than the other 3 guys. Tavares can't really play the infield being left-handed, and Holliday is pretty much just a left fielder. The only other spot you could experiment him at would be first base, but obviously Matt Adams is not moving from first base, and Matt Adams should not be leaving the lineup. So between the 3 outfielders, it should go Holliday in left, Jay in center, and Tavares in right. And then what's wrong with trying Alan Craig out at second base? Instead of going and getting a trade and getting like a Daniel Murphy, because that seems to be the biggest name for second base on the market, this trade market. Daniel Murphy, he's solid, but I mean, he kind of falls in that same category. The Cardinals need some power in this lineup. They just don't have it, and Murphy's not going to give you that power. Murphy is just going to be another, I just don't think that would be the right move to go and get a Daniel Murphy. I don't think that helps your offense. I mean, he obviously would be an improvement over Mark Ellis and Colton Wong because I think both of those guys are just not very good baseball players. Colton Wong, I just don't think is just ready to play at the major league level, and Mark Ellis is just awful. He's pretty solid defensively, but he's just awful. Shortstop Peralta's been fine this season, so I mean that's not really an area to look for. I was wrong on that. And Matt Carpenter's been solid at third. So if they're going to make a trade, they're going to have to make a trade for a third baseman. But until that, what's wrong with putting Alan Craig at second base? Just until either Colton Wong is fully healthy to play, and then you can move Tavares back to the bench or platoon or whatever. Tavares shouldn't be platooning. He needs regular at-bats. Otherwise, just send him back down to AAA. Or just, trade him to get your franchise third baseman, You're not going to get an Evan Longoria. You're not going to get like Evan Longoria, but something similar to that. If that's available, that is. If it's not available, you might as well just hold on to the guys you have and just try to do what you can do. I think starting pitching is something they need to go after with Waka and Joe Kelly and Jaime Garcia. Waka and Garcia could be out for the rest of the season for all we know. There's no clarification on that quite yet. So those are just options that you have that as Cardinal fans you have to think about. Uh, if Alan Craig plays second base, I don't know if he can still play. He used to. I mean, when he came up, he could hit, and he just didn't have a spot for him in the lineup. So he was playing a lot of second base just because. And even if he doesn't play, he doesn't have to play it like every day. But he could play it like 3 days a week. What's wrong with that? Or 4 days a week, or 2 days a week, or whatever. Or third base. See which position's easy, because Carpenter can play either or. And until you make that trade for that guy, Alan Craig might be the dude who gets traded in the trade. I don't know. We'll see what happens. David Price the Cardinals have showed a lot of interest in David Price. He's a guy they need to go and get. And if you can get David Price and somehow convince him to stay in St. Louis long term, where they can commit that kind of money to a player like that, I mean, I wouldn't be against trading Tavares to get David Price, because again, you have Holiday for another 3 or 4 years, and Alan Craig is probably going to be your future right fielder. So, I mean, for Tavares, who's ready to play right now, he already has maximum value. You already can get maximum value for him. That's your trade chip. That's pretty much what. And I know the Cardinals and Mozeliak isn't going to trade him, but you also got to think about. They just have to think about what's the future for Tavares, unless they're planning on no Alan Craig. I mean, they let Carlos Beltran walk because Tavares was supposed to play right field, but then they didn't expect Matt Adams to come out and just be raping the baseball. So, obviously, pretty disappointed Cardinal fans so far this season. They're a couple games over 500. Actually, I got it right here. They are 4 games over 500. That's great. Basically what I do is I keep track of my own stats. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that. I got all the months for each month of the regular season. Keep track of the overall record, so that way I don't have to go on MLB.com to say what's their record against this team. I have it right here. It's just easier for me. And then I also got the all the pitchers. I got them in order, like that, pretty much. Tomorrow Wainwright's on the hill. That's just because I know, because that's the next pitcher on my list. I got all the other starts for all the injured guys over there, so pretty much I don't get to watch that many games working second shift, so I only get to watch like 1 game a week, maybe 2, because usually when I'm off on Mondays I'm out playing golf, and I'm not going to be inside watching baseball. I usually watch it on Sundays. So, as far as that's concerned, I mean, moving Alan Craig to second base, that would be the option and what I would do with it. As far as anything else, I mean, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh well. Anyways, basically Alan Craig to second base. Anything else that's been going down? Yachty's kind of in a slump, I guess. From what I heard today, he's been like 1 for his last like 32 or something like that, or 8 for his last 39 or something like that. He'll come out of it. It's Yachty. He pretty much is. He's probably going to start the All-Star game. He should start the All-Star game. I don't care how good Luke Croy's been. If I want to win an All-Star game, and if it counts, I want the best player out there, not the hottest hitter for the week out there. Because who knows what happens when he has to, face real pitching. And I want Molina calling, for Wainwright or Kershaw, whoever's going to start the All-Star game. I'm fine with either or. They're both phenomenal pitchers. I think Wainwright's been snubbed over the last few years. He's come in second for the Cy Young like 3 years in a row. And then in 2009 was the year he should have won it. Pretty much. He finished 3rd behind Carpenter and Lincecum. And Lincecum shouldn't have won it. He won it because Carpenter and Wainwright split votes. Wainwright had more first place votes than the 3, and he came in 3rd place because 2 idiots One of them's from Chicago, and the other one I think was from San Francisco. Didn't even have Wainwright on the ballot because they didn't even know who he was. That's those guys should be totally voting for the All-Star, or those guys should totally be voting for Cy Young because they seem so fucking qualified for it. Just that, and I guess that's it. It's Mad Dog 2001, and hopefully I can make another one of these videos so the 7 of you that watch it can enjoy it, I guess.